So, let's start this. What am I going to be ranting about today for our very first ranting video? And, well, I'm sure most of you can assume it's going to be Dead by Daylight, and specifically from the stance of a veteran who has been playing for roughly, 5 years, whenever this killer came out. And you might be looking at this and saying, hey, Rocky, that's not true. You could have grinded most of this within the last, month, and that's true, because technically, I haven't been playing this account since, I believe, Nemesis released. Right, I believe it was Nemesis or Cenobite released. It was around that time. Then I started playing on PC, and I took a break after the Dredge released. Well, more so I took a break after Onyro released, but I played on and off until Dredge release, and then Wesker came out and I stopped playing. I know, a weird time to stop, but I have reasonings for it, which I might get to once I start talking a bit more about that later. But before that, I used to be a console player, so I played from Pig's release all the way to, I believe it was the Twins, I believe. I either stopped at Twins or Trickster. It was one of these two killers. I believe the Trickster I had saw come out, and I had played against the Twins. Right, because I remember crushing Victor on the console, and it was stupid. So, why did I switch? Well, I got PC, let's be real. It's much nicer to play, and I am ultimately glad I did the switch. So, the point is, I'm playing for a long time, and I took a little break when Trickster released, just because, new console, got everything settled in, or new computer, not even new computer, a computer, got everything settled in. Then I started playing consistently, then I stopped playing after Onyro, because I didn't find Onyro enjoyable, and the meta was just kind of getting stale at that point. Everything was not that fun. Dredge came out, I thought it was fun, so I played on and off, mainly for streams. This was around the time I stopped playing for myself. And then Wesker came out. I wasn't really streaming at that point, due to some reasons, and while I found Wesker fun, I didn't really play. And then, I still kept in the loop by watching, Ots videos. So, I saw the Knight come out. I was like, oh, that's such a cool looking killer. I love him. Turned out, he's not very fun to play, doesn't really work, from the videos I saw, so I was like, okay, I'm not getting back in the game for Knight. Skull Merchant came out. I really disliked her, so I was like, okay, not getting back in the game for Skull Merchant. Singularity came out. I'm like, that's cool, but do I really want to get in after that much of a break? Ultimately decided no, skipped out Singularity. And I didn't come back until Xenomorph, about a month ago. Xenomorph came out, I was like, oh, I love the Alien franchise, let me give this game a shot again. And funnily enough, I've been really enjoying it, and that's kind of what I want to just talk about. I want to talk about my thoughts on, the perks, the killers, Earlier today, Stranger Things just got re-announced, so you finally got Demogorgon back after how many, years. Which, I did have him before. I love Demo. In fact, I believe I even had an outfit yet, because I used to play a lot of Demogorgon. I know his levels don't show it, but I did. Because I played before the blood points were so easy to get. So, what do I want to talk about first? I think I just want to talk about the meta, really, I came into a meta where Made for This was an incredible perk, and for killers, information perks were kind of king, and most of the general aggression perks weren't amazing. They were still quite good, but they were quite frankly much worse than what they were before. Pain Res, Pop, Jolt. Well, I don't think Jolt changed, but Jolt's now an option because the other ones are worse. Pentimento is still stupidly busted. I don't know how I took that long of a break and they still haven't nerfed this artist perk. Pentimento and Plaything is such a good combo. But regardless, that's why I kind of walked into. And as Survivor, I didn't run Made for This. actually show wipe and running. I'm a killer main, so I play survivor raringly, but I love Hattie, so that's the survivor I play. And well, normally I run deliverance. I just had a challenge, so I ran prove yourself, but I play life. It's a nice perk. Will make it. I do really like healing people instantly, and my anti-slugging perk. And truthfully, I don't have many survivor perks, so it's like maybe if I got more to have a more interesting build, but you know, I also don't really have a desire to play survivor. Killer is much more interesting for me, and it's always kind of been that way. So, made for this what was my thoughts on it? I actually didn't hate it. I think when we get off of made for this, it's gonna go back to sprint burst, and sprint burst is a really good perk. The other exhaustion perks are really good. Made for this is like, it's strong. I'm not gonna say. I think made for this should have been nerfed regardless. It makes killers like Wraith worse. You know, killers that rely on just having like razor thin margins to catch up to survivors. It just makes them worse. So having that perk being nerfed is very good. But the killers I've been enjoying playing recently, being like artist and alien, they don't really care. Quite frankly, they don't care about made for this, and it's quite nice. I don't know. It was basically a meta where the killers that didn't care about that 3% movement speed flourish because they didn't have to worry about the worst exhaustion perks. But the killers who were bad against it really suffered, and that metas can be shifted, and I'm glad for it. I am happy because Pig, a killer that I really enjoy playing, she's gonna be a bit more fun to play afterwards. So that's kind of my thoughts on the meta. I know we're gonna end up getting a little bit of a meta shift, but it's ultimately gonna be the same. The only perk being touched is made for this, I believe. So, and of course we'll probably get new perks, and new perks, I should talk about that. So I know we had some changes, but just like the ideas of new perks. I know the buckle up for the people combo is stupid. I've been hit by that a couple of times. It's rough because it feels like you can't really do much. You just have to wait out like 10 seconds, which like that's the reason why killers hated Dead Hard. You know, it's just wait it out. And that's the reason survivors hated Eruption. Just wait it out. So it's annoying. I'm glad buckle up isn't terrible, but I don't think it should work with for the people. Otherwise, what else am I looking at? Wesker came out. I don't think his perks are that good. I think Awaken Awareness is good for nurse only. Superior Anatomy is fun with Myers, but who cares about Terminus? It's not a great perk. Knight had some good perks. Hex Face the Darkness. I'll talk a lot about that perk. I'll talk a lot about that perk in Ultimate Weapon. I believe that there is a solution to those two perks, because I do think they're problematic. I'll get to them when I talk about there. So actually, you know what? I think at this point, instead of just talking about the new perks, let's structure this a little bit differently. I'm just going to go give my thoughts on the killers, because that's something I want to rant about. And yeah, I'll just find a bunch of stuff to talk about these killers. There's not going to be timestamps because I'm evil, and this series is basically just like a one take, no editing. So if you're not a fan, maybe the series ain't for you, but then again, I also expect it to be like just a toss on in the back while you're doing something else. You can listen to me rant about things series. So yeah, I'll start off with Trapper, because he's definitely gotten some changes, and also show you the build I'm trying to build. Now, for him, I'm missing Jolt. I'm missing Jolt. I haven't gone in the Blood Web, and I also haven't been leveling him up. Though soon, I've been potentially thinking about, because I'll also show you what skins I'm aiming for. And to no one's surprise, I want the Naughty Bear Trapper skin. It's new, just came out, so I haven't really gotten a chance to buy it, but it's so cool, with the unique Mori too. Um, and also for reference, I have played all these killers before, actually, before, what's it called, making this. So I can give some thoughts. Trapper, I think is fine. He's very basic. Serotonin when a survivor steps here and trapped is great, but decent survivors will just bully you. I mean, you're just a killer without a power, and the maps really don't help. Most maps are just terrible for you. I don't know. If I would have to place him in, like, oh, how much fun I have, I would say middle of the road. He's very basic. I don't hate him. No, we'll get to killers I hate, but I don't know. If you told me, oh, you have to go play Trapper, I'll be like, okay. I think that's how it'll be. It'll be, if you tell me to play X killer, will I be, yes, I was gonna play them anyway, they're so much fun. Okay, I'm pretty good with playing this killer. I don't hate myself. I really don't want to play this killer, and I'd rather die. And I think there's only 2 killers that would go into that rather die category, but we'll get to them. Then where's perks? Unnerving presence is bad. Brawl strength is bad, especially with all the like buffs that killers have gone just to base breaking speeds, because I knew that happened not too long ago. It's just unnecessary. And agitation's always good with combination of perks. Not good on its own, but actually I think it's fine on its own for very slow killers, but for the most part, you don't need agitation. Unless you're running with like Starstruck and maybe Awakened Awareness, other perks like that. Then we got Wraith. I made a very gen kicking build for, and truthfully, I do enjoy playing Wraith. I think, like, as you can see, the Stray Cat one that came out recently is cool, but I think this is my favorite one. This On Fire one. It's such a cool cosmetic, and I got it because I love playing Wraith. He is one of my top killers I like playing. The only problem I'm having with him right now is, quite simply, Made for This was too strong. Made for This just makes Wraith not fun to play, in my opinion. And sure, you can say skill issue or whatever, but I don't know, I would get to a loop, I would use his power, and then it's like, oh, they Made for This, they make the window, or they make an extra loop. Whereas before it would be, oh, barely a hit, so that's always annoying. Yeah, no. I really like the Overcharge. Overcharge isn't the best, but I mean, I still like Overcharge. Plus you have extra regression speed. Eruption to apply is really nice. Nowhere Tied, obviously, for information. With Lethal, giving extra seconds. I don't know why they buff Lethal Pursuer, but I'm fine with it. Yeah. All in all, I'm a big fan of Wraith. I'm really interested in playing when Made for This gets nerfed. And his perks, we all know his perks are terrible. Shadowborn should just be an option you get in-game. What would you replace Shadowborn with? I don't know, make it to where you could make it even like an event-specific one, or like an archive-specific one, or something like that, you know. The fact that you're putting it as a setting where some people need that FOV, like some people need that FOV for like health reasons. Like I have a friend who I used to play a lot Dead by Daylight with, Fell. He always had to run Shadowborn. He was always a perk down when he played because he would get vertigo whenever he played without Shadowborn, and it's like, that sucks. That just sucks. It should just be an option. And the fact that they haven't yet is crazy. Predator's a hindrance. This is the no mither of killers. It just makes it harder to track. And Bloodhound's fine. The fact that it can track for longer will make trip up survivors, but his perks are pretty bad. They're either like bad, like in terms of how good they are in the meta, or just good they are in general, or they're bad because it's unhealthy for the game, and I think, Wraith is very weird. Wraith is very weird. And also, I've been kind of going through these guys without explaining their powers too much. I guess I'll explain them a little bit in case you haven't played Dead by Daylight, but I'm going to assume most people who would just want to watch Rant have. But the Trapper, he just said it's a trap, but this Wraith guy, he hits his bell, turns invisible, and he can hit his bell again to go, and gets a little speed boost where he gets an increased lunge. And while he's invisible, he moves faster but can't attack. And that was why Made for This was so powerful against him. Made for This, when you're injured, you go 3% faster. And survivors go at 100%, killers go at 115. So he would come out of his bell and then go to swing, but he would barely miss things. And it wasn't quite fun. It was not a fun time for Mr. Wraith. The next one is Hillbilly. Now, this is just my go fast Hillbilly build. This is just give me information, give me a funny FOV so I make it feel like I'm going even faster. Get me to hooks faster, specifically floods of rage hooks, so I can go even faster. Also ignore his yelling. It's quite rude. That's about it on him. I like Hillbilly. I mean, you charge up a chainsaw and he'll just start sprinting forward. That's his power. And with the FOV increase, it makes him feel... It does make him really fun to play. He's difficult. I'm not going to say I'm good at him. I'm really not. I would like to get better at him. Maybe if I finally fork over money for his cat one. Maybe. I do wish this had sound effects, though. Some of the ones do. I wish this one did. But alas, it does not. That's one of the reasons I've been biting my tongue on getting that. But if I finish leveling up, because I also decided to make a light build for each character and mess with it. So maybe there's builds, and I'll say for any of the killers I say aren't fun, which we'll get to some. If you know of a build, or you know of a play style, just drop it in the comments. Because I would love to, because we'll get to some killers that I just find atrocious to play, and I hate playing them. I would love to find out ways to actually enjoy the killer. We'll get to Skull Merchant. I hated this killer first couple times I played her. I found a build, and I actually enjoy playing her. Which I know is going to be divisive to say, at least right now, but I'll explain when we get to Skull Merchant. But yeah, I find Billy really fun. I think just running around with the chainsaw is great. His overeat mechanic is stupid, but whatever. And then Lightborn's a really bad perk. Being immune to the blindness caused by light is whatever, and seeing the aura is pretty good, but I mean, you could run better perks. Tinker is quite a good perk. I do like the fact that they nerfed it to only be triggered once per gen, especially with all the gen regression. It makes it a more fair perk to go against, and I like going against Tinker more than before. And finally, Enduring. It's really only a perk you use with Hubris and Spear of Fury, but it's quite nice. You just get to ignore stuns a bit more. Yeah, I think Hillbilly's good, and I think for first 3 killers, they're pretty good. Nurse. I don't like facing Nurse. I don't like playing Nurse. You know why I have the default outfit, even though there's a couple outfits on her that's pretty cool? Because I'm not going to play her. I made a build. That's just pop, nowhere to hide, agitation, scourge hook. I always get 4Ks when I play her. Doesn't feel nice, because you're cheating. I mean, she's the slowest killer in the game. She's slower than survivors, but she gets to teleport forward. Which is just so... I don't know, it's dumb. It's... especially when you face a good nurse, which I am nowhere near a good nurse. I would say I'm an average nurse. Average to below average. good nurses will just make you feel like there's no counterplay, especially with the perks you release that give you such awareness. It's not very fun to go against nurses, and to play as nurse, it just feels like cheating, because like I said, she's slower than normal, and she just teleports, so she doesn't follow the rules. Every other killer has to deal with pallets, every other killer has to play around windows, play around walls, all that stuff. She doesn't. She just says no. I mean, what other killer can stand on the first floor of a building and just say, I want to go to that second floor of my own volition without anyone else doing anything? I don't know. She's dumb. I mean, and also, side note, she's the reason I don't watch competitive Dead by Daylight. Why? Because everyone plays nurse, and it's not fun to just watch one nurse destroy people for a while. Tournaments that just allow you to play nurse, I don't know, they're not very fun to watch. That's just my opinion. The perks that she came out with, Strider, is pretty bad. It's not even got Spirit anymore. Thana, ooh, I remember they just nerfed Thana, so you can still get the, obviously this is level 1, but at max level you can still get that 20% regression, penalty to repair speed. But now you need to do it if all 4 are injured. If 3 are injured, it's 1. 2% or something like that. Something really low. It's just not worth running anymore, especially after a nurse. Though I think I have one killer that does run Thana just because everyone gets injured. That's the whole build. We'll get to them eventually. And a nurse's, it's a fine information perk. Not much to say. Huntress, the character I mained for a while, and you might say, oh, why'd you stop maining her? To be completely honest, I just stopped playing. I got super rusty as her. There's other killers I want to try out now. Huntress, you have to consistently play to keep her skill. I just don't know if I want to consistently play her. She's very fun. Her power's great. It's a brilliant killer, but it does have the problem of you need such practice, and you need to consistently practice to be good at Huntress, and truthfully, I am not going to. But the build I made, just information and Shadowborn, and it's just get better Huntress, or just get information, hit long range hatchets, because that's what I really like about this killer, and play a game. It's fast games, they're interesting games, and if I'm doing well, oh, it really feels good. So ultimately, I'd say I do really like Huntress, and her perks are all terrible. I mean, if you are gaining bloodlust in a chase, if you're in a chase, undetectable isn't going to do anything, so that's alright, bad perk. If you go into the basement, you get notified. How many people are going into the basement? None. And Lullaby, the fact that it only works on certain killers or certain skill checks is just dumb. It's really dumb. And it was because, and I'm pretty sure the nerf happened was because it used to work on Doctor skill checks. Then one of the developers was playing against Doctor, who ran Huntress Lullaby, and he was unable to. I'm sorry, I was just looking. Why did I? Okay, strange. Anyways, and he fought a Doctor running Huntress Lullaby, and then like a week later, it got nerfed because he got so frustrated. I just find that a funny little story. But yeah, Huntress Lullaby. So now Huntress just doesn't have good perks. She's a good killer. I think she's a fun killer, but her perks are garbage. You shouldn't level her up for perks. Myers. I'm missing Jolt here. This is just a snowball. This is just get as close as you can to people and then snowball. And not much to say. I mean, you stalk people, you tear up, you can insta-down people at tier 3. It's an outdated power. I don't find him very fun to play. Though... Oh, where'd the build go? Oh, maybe I replaced it on this page, because I was making my builds I really want. Yeah, because this was the build I ran in the meantime. The other one I was trying to find was a vaulting one I had. That was quite fun, where you just speed vault everything. Which was why it was bamboozle. Shoot. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the perk layout already. Well, whatever. Oh, the whisker perk. Yeah, that was on the PTB. I messed with that. And I think it would still be a fun build to this day, but yeah, ultimately I think he's just an outdated killer. I mean, the fact that you have killers with stalking mechanic, you have another killer with the stalking mechanic in Ghostface, that's just a better Myers. Like, his stealth's not good, his mobility's not good. Plus, it's infuriating. Do I have it? I don't have it. Is in his blood web? No, because yeah. There's you have Judas Tombstone. He has a tombstone piece, which allows you to instantly kill someone from the game, and it makes him a decent killer. But, like, it's not fun for anyone. You stalk a guy, and then you remove them from the game. Yeah, it's not quite enjoyable. I don't know. It's not a well-designed killer, which sucks because I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite franchise. Maybe not my favorite franchise, that might be Saw, but still, I really like the Halloween movies. I would say the original Halloween movie is my favorite movie of all time. And it sucks that you have Myers, an iconic horror villain who's just not great. And, I mean, his perk, Save the Best for Last, it's a good perk. Some people say it's not healthy for the game. I can see it. But at the same time, I don't know. If it wasn't so necessary for some killers, I would say maybe it should receive a slight nerf, but at the same time, I think it's fine. Play if your food is gimmicky, but I like it. And then Dying Light, such a terrible perk. The obsession gets stronger, and you get a slight penalty on anyone who's not the obsession. Yeah, it's not good. Plus, your obsession has to stay alive, so you have to take that bonus. It's not great. Also, fun fact, this line, you fooled them, haven't you, Michael, but not me. That is actually not a line said in the movie. That was actually a cut line when Dr. Loomis talks to Michael in the prison, or psych ward, one of those. So, I always found that interesting. Hag. I really like Hag. I'm bad at Hag, but I love playing her. She's so stupid. You just set traps, and you set up this whole blood web, or this whole web that survivors will just trigger. And I don't know, there's just something fun about it. Maybe it's the fact that it's also, like, scary. Like, Hag and Myers, jump scare Myers are the two things that actually, like, still scare me in this game. Because she, like, sharply turns your camera. And along with that, I just find it interesting creating a web and having people step into it and start triggering your traps and just going on this really cool, like, oh, my mastermind plan has come together. And just teleporting all around. I think it's a really fun killer. Would I say it's the best? I would say I know I haven't really followed that tier I put out at the beginning, but I feel like everyone gets kind of how I'm feeling about these killers. I wouldn't say she's, like, I'm fine with playing her. I'm like more than fine with playing her. Not my favorite. Just because I feel like when your plan comes together, it's really nice, but when it doesn't, it does feel kind of bad. But then again, I also think she has some S tier cosmetics. I mean, this fish person, I love. Then you also have a mushroom one and some other stuff. She's got some great cosmetics as well. And of course, I bought the Halloween one because, you know, it just came out recently. Not came out recently, it came out last year, but it was limited time this year, so I got it. Ruin's terrible. Unless you're going for a very specific build, it's not great. Devour is one of the most fun perks in the game, and I love it a lot. And it actually does encourage not staying by the hook, which I like. It is a perk that discourages camping and gives you a really nice reward, and I enjoy that. And of course, Third Seal. Third Seal is evil for... What was the build I was messing around with? I found it really fun on Alien. I messed around with it. I ultimately dropped it for Retribution because I like the information more. But having the blindness so people don't know where to run to for turns and stuff is really nice. It's really nice. Third Seal's a perk I can mess with. Oh, and of course, the build I ran is... Oh, you know what? I feel so bad for this. So, let me pull this up. So, when it comes to the builds, I typically either messed with them myself by looking at the different killers, messing with their strength, weaknesses, whatever. Another thing I did was I looked at different like YouTubers or streamers and I got their builds, or I took inspiration from them. Like let's go back. Hillbilly was unclestanbana, and I'll write all the names in the description from who I like kind of use for a build, but I think I took his exact build because it was fun. I messed around with it. It was fun. I took superalf's build just because, I mean, he's the nurse player, and I don't really care enough to invest in nurse, to be honest. Huntress, I mixed a few builds. The main one I think I wound up going with was fallenryan. I messed a bit around with his build. I just think the information was very good. And of course, who would I take for Hag? Of course, it would be Michi, the Hag player. And this is their like casual one, the one they enjoy to play for fun. And I gotta say, it's really nice. Make your choice. It's a very cool perk to have on Hag. Say the best for last. It just makes you faster. Coup de grace is such it's a fun perk. And Trail of Torment for the sneaky stuff. All in all, it's a very fun build just to kind of mess with, and I'm glad I watched I'm glad I just watch Michi videos, to be honest. The other one, this one, I did take this, I combined a few builds he had from Herman the Doctor, who, would you believe, is a Doctor main. It's pretty fun. Oh, I forgot this is Surge now, not Jolt. It might be controversial to say. So for the survivors, I like the original names better. Like Babysitter's better than Guardian. Fixated's way better than, like, what was it, Situational Awareness? No, that's the other one. I forget what the Fixated used to be called, but... Oh, Self-Aware. Like, Survivor ones, the originals were better. For killers, the new ones were better. Like, Surge Jolt, I can switch between. And, but like, Mindbreaker, Fearmonger I like better. But truthfully, that could just be a killer name, the Fearmonger. The one I specifically look for It's cruel limits and claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is such a better name than cruel limits. But, I don't make the decisions, that is what it is. And it's just a classic doctor build. Surge, good gen regression. Deadlock, amazing perk. Merciless Storm is the doctor perk. And Sloppy, just to slow down healing. Not a complicated build. And for doctor, he comes with overwhelming presence. Not very good. It's not a very good perk. Modern Abuse is good for very few killers if you want to sneak up on people. And Overcharge if you're going for a gen regression build. Ultimately, me explaining, I can't tell you what Iridescent King does. It has 5 effects. Why? I think Ott said it. You need a PhD to understand his effects, and it's dumb. Also, I have the Luxie skin, because I love this franchise. I do like the Luxie franchise. And his power can just be explained as, you send shock out, you electrocute people, they go mad. At Madness 3, they scream constantly and reveal their location. My thoughts on the killer? I actually do like the Doctor. I think he's very ping reliant, but whether or not you get the pre-palette, you can't mess with palettes and stuff, but ultimately. Sorry, I had to stop. Because for some reason, something started playing. Okay, that was weird. Something started playing through my headphone. And I was very confused because I didn't have anything plugged in. Well, regardless, I do enjoy it. He's ping reliant, but if you told me you have to play Doctor, sure. I would play him and pretty much enjoy him. Next one is Cannibal. I just messed with I think Bamboozle you need on Cannibal. It's a little boring, but I do enjoy it. Deadlock, just classic gen defense, and nowhere to hide and pop just to deal with generators, then move straight into a chase. It's not a complex build. And his power is just, you get chainsaw, you sweep it back and forth, and then you down people if you touch them. And his perks are also not too great. Franklin's Demise, it's a waste of a perk slot. Knockout, if you're being very mean, you can run this with some other perks, but ultimately, it's not very good, and it's just not very fun. And Barbecue is fun for, killers with low mobility or range attacks. But otherwise, don't run Barbecue. They took away the blood points. So he's not... So, all in all, his perks aren't very good, and the only build I really made for him was quite a boring one, and I'm like, oh, he's basic, so of course I don't like him, right? I really enjoy him as a killer. There's just something about the stupid things you can do while moving fast with a chainsaw. I'll say he's my comfort pick. If I'm not feeling in a great headspace, but I want to play Dead by Daylight, I'll pick Cannibal. I'll pick Bubba, and I'll have fun. That's kind of the truth, and I don't think he's really been affected too hard by this meta. I mean, the whole event kind of messed him up. I think the event was just survivor-sided, so it kind of made playing all these killers harder. But I've been seeing my praise for a lot of these killers. So now we get to Freddy. He might be my least favorite killer in this game. He's just boring. You set up snares. They're fine. They can, they slow down people if they're in the dream. If they're not, then you don't have a power, and you can teleport, but only to generators that aren't done, and it takes a while, and they can just finish it, and then it just screws you over. Or they can just get off and run. And it's like, okay, that's not very good. I don't know, it's not a fun perk. I think what what's the one I'm looking at? Or the one I'm thinking of. There's one that makes like when you try teleporting, you what's it called? Where when you teleport, everyone sees that you're teleporting, or it appears you're teleporting. That's like the add-on. I think is pretty decent. But otherwise, I mean, like, he's boring. He's like, Jolt's the other one, cause like, what do you do as him? Like, genuine question. What do you do as the nightmare? What do you do as Freddy? You run around. You hit survivors. You teleport. And you try hitting more survivors. It's so boring, and the most interesting part of his kit takes away his best part. You have to have dream snares or dream pallets. Just give him both, and then give him area add-ons that are like, you lose dream pallets but buffs dream snares, or you lose dream snares but like dream pallets, everyone can see them whether you're awake or not. You know, something like that. I don't know. It's just dumb. He's just a poorly designed killer. And the fact that which we'll get to Trickster, but that Trickster's getting a rework before Freddy does kind of blow my mind, because not saying Trickster's good. We'll get to him. I don't like Trickster either, but like, I haven't met anyone who likes to play as or against this killer. Never. I've never seen anyone want to do that. I know one person who liked playing him before the rework when he was real bad. Is that? No. Let me see. The other one is Nightmare. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I have to talk about his perks now. Blood Warden is fun. It's really fun against cocky survivors. It's not that good. Remember Me is terrible. If you're the Obsession, you're not even affected by it. But if you aren't, you can lose like 24 seconds of doing the gate. And of course, Fire Up is... It's fine. I say it's fine above these other perks because it can screw up some timings, and that does kind of give it some extra like oomph to it, but ultimately it's not that great of a perk. You can run better perks than Fire Up. You can run better perks than all these. And we get to Pig. I'll talk about the perks first. Hangman's Trick, they turn to a scorch hook, they change the entire purpose. It's just bad. It's real bad. Like, it's not even... Like, this is just such a bad perk. This might be one of the worst perks in the game. Like, you have to... Within 12 meters of a scourge hook, that's good. But you have to be around a scourge hook, and then you can see the information. I don't know. I don't even know why anyone would run this perk. And it's like, the entire purpose of this perk is that you're supposed to be able to mess with stuff, and that's... You tinkered with the hooks, you messed with the hooks, and that gives you an advantage. This is just like, oh, the entity hooks are stronger, and it's like, whatever. I really just don't know what... Like, if this was maybe 12 meters all the time, regardless of if they're near us, whether you're carrying a survivor or not, that might be good. That might be much better. But, as it is, never run this perk. Surveillance is quite good because there's a bunch of perks I'll regress generators, and we'll get to a build that I run on a certain killer. And surveillance is quite good on it. And ultimately, I just think it's a fun perk. And make your choice. You need a mobility killer, but I think it can be quite good. 60 seconds of exposed really does change how survivors play. It's quite nice. And the build I run, well, this is the build I run. An aggressive, in-your-face build. Minus these, I was just kind of using random add-ons, messing with these. The build I kept seeing while I was looking for additional builds. Also, please ignore the dogs, because I am like 40 minutes into this. I'm 50, I do not want to restart. And just like that, my microphone also decided to break. Yeah, that was funny. I mean, it's a good thing I was just watching my microphone when it just broke. Otherwise, that might have been bad if I finished this, which will probably be like 2 hours, I'm assuming. And then I came back and it's like, oh, it's just gone. Nothing wants to work. You know, this is why I don't stream. This is why I'm waiting to get my own place before I stream. But yeah, this was the build I kept seeing around. A super mean build where you just try going for head pops. I don't know. I think head pops are fun, and I think playing a few times with this build might be interesting, but it's just such a mean build. Like, you basically just say, you there, survivor, you don't get to play the game, and then they die. I don't know. I would, if it was up to me, and actually no, this is where I get to talk about these two perks specifically, Face of Darkness and Ultimate Weapon. They both make you scream and interrupt your action. I think that is a fine mechanic on specific stuff. I think Doctor should make you scream. I think like, what's the perk called? Iron Maiden should make you scream. I think perks like that should make you scream. You know, perks like that, killers like that. I don't think Ultimate Weapon and Hex Face the Darkness should make you scream. Maybe, no, I don't think Hex Face the Darkness. I think they should still give you information, but not make you scream. And you might say, well, what would you say for these ones? Maybe add in a new status called Shiver, where they'll, like, where their location will be revealed but won't stop their actions. That would honestly make some of the more unfun combinations like this weaker. Like the whole Dead Man Switch Ultimate Weapon, that's a stupid one. Or this one, the whole head pop one, because you constantly interrupt everyone you're going against. It's, I would say maybe that, and you might argue, well, you know, screaming stops the actions. That's what makes it stronger from aura reading, but aura reading will last longer. How do you strike the balance with Shiver? And the honest truth, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think maybe having a mechanic that doesn't stop you but reveals your information briefly, especially on these where it's like it's so easy to get. You open a locker, anyone in your terror radius screams. Just randomly people will scream not in your terror radius, like I think we can definitely I think Shiver could work, or something along those lines, because it's like, okay, it's strong, that'll increase your It's strong that'll give you information, and it's easy information. I think that's what could separate it. Shiver is easy information, but it's not as long. Whereas, like, aura reading will normally be harder to acquire, but will give you more stuff. Will give you better effects. I think maybe something like that could work. Just because these two interrupting you, it's not very fun. I did go up against an artist that ran ultimate weapon, and I kid you not, we had tried doing this one generator that she wasn't pressuring at all for like 3 minutes because it kept getting pain resed and dead man switched, and it just took so long and it was not very fun. But I do like Pig. I do enjoy Pig. I think her traps are a great idea, and she did get me into this game, so ultimately, I enjoy Pig. I might not really enjoy her, especially because she wasn't. And I say that because I think her ambush is bad. It's poorly designed. Like, Ghostface can go into stealth instantly, can move faster, and can attack instantly. She can't. Her ambush needs a rework, but that's my only problem. I love the saw traps. The reverse berry traps are fun. They make sense. And yeah, I say I really like Pig, but she needs work. And obviously my rant about these two perks, I don't know, they're a bit too powerful. Clown. We also haven't had a killer in a while that I want a different cosmetic for. I don't know when we'll get that. Truthfully, I've gotten most of the cosmetics just from grinding the game, or, you know, just being like, oh yeah, I got a paycheck, let me get something for a killer I've been playing. Clown. This is a full stop, just keep going build. More speed with play with your food, more speed if you hit a survivor, more speed if you keep hitting non-obsessions, and coup de grace so you can lunge. It's just go forward, have fun build, and that's what Clown is all about. Before I played this build, I not have fun with Clown. With this build, I'm not gonna lie, I do have fun with Clown now. He's just... this build just allows you to do such stupid things. Like, the fact that you can have this big guy just start charging at you at Mach speeds. That's very funny. Yeah, he is a killer I like. Funnily enough, he is a killer that because of the builds I wound up liking. Which I think that's interesting, that so far there's only there's 3 killers out of the, what? I can't do math. Out of the 12 we've looked at so far that I don't like. And that probably, and I know going through the most, I like most of the other killers that'll be coming up too. I think it just goes to show how diverse Dead by Daylight's made its cast, and how interesting they've actually made them. Or the fact that you can play any killer based on your style, you have options too, which is really nice. Now, that is one thing I will give this game full credit for, and the developers credit for. They make such interesting killers and ideas. Well, we'll get to maybe one that didn't fully succeed, but yeah. And you know what? I'll save that rant for Trickster. We'll get to Trickster. I'll save that rant in a rant for Trickster. I know, I've been talking for so long. This spirit, I'm going to kick a bunch of gen build. I have been trying to make spirit work for me. I have tried full chase builds, full information build. This was the one I had the most fun with, the most success. I find her power clunky and slow, which you might say, hey, she's one of the fastest killers in the game when you phase. And yes, that's true, but you don't have your power up very often. Unlike Blight, who always has his power up, and even when he doesn't, he's a 115 killer. Nurse, who's a very slow killer, but she has her power up basically all the time. uh, whether killers have like high mobility. I can just think of. Xenomorph, you have to find a station, but when you do, you start zooming across the map. Hillbilly, you can just press your power for a little bit and go. There's no like real cooldown. It just takes a while, and when you do, you're still not that fast unless you have add-ons. You're like in okay speed. Like, I'll recognize she's good, but I can't say she's fun. And I hate going against her, is the other big thing. I think she's boring. So, my ultimate verdict on Spirit, I'm not a big fan of her. Oh, I didn't even talk about clown perks. Fine, I'll talk about clown perks. Bamboozle lets you vault windows faster and then they get blocked off. Quite a nice perk. It really makes, especially build realms with lots of windows, it makes them a lot more manageable. Colorophobia, pretty bad. I mean, in your tear radius, if people are healing, it can be fine, because that's what it's designed to do, but that's very specific. Most people won't heal in your tear radius, especially if they know you have colorophobia. So a lot of the times it just doesn't do anything, but it can lead to some really good moments if you run an anti-healing build. And Pop is one of the strongest regression perks in the game. Quite frankly, you kick a generator after you hook a survivor, and it can deal a lot of damage to it. It's just pretty good. And then we go Spirit. We talk about her Spirit Fury. After you destroy a number of pallets, the next time you're stunned by a pallet, it breaks instantly. It's a very fun perk mixed with enduring. You can get double hits as just regular killers. I quite enjoy it. It's fun. It's good. It's simple. It's not amazing, but I mean, still, I like it. I'll definitely run it on killers. Haunted Grounds is a fun perk I don't run, because if there's two perks and if there's two totems, if they destroy them, you become exposed, and obviously you become exposed, and if you get downed, that's it. It's fine in trap builds, but then at the same time, you can also, if you make like a trap hex build, a lot of the time you also just get hit by, oh, they don't cleanse your haunted ground, and it's just wasted perk slot. Oh, they cleanse it when you're chasing an injured survivor. Oh, they cleanse it, and you can't find anyone. It's over time I've realized I'm not a big fan of this perk, but I used to run it a lot. And then Rancor, I think this is just an unhealthy perk for a game. Your obsession can just die at the end for free, but you give them information throughout the game. It's basically just saying, hey, obsession, hope you know you have to play cowardice for the rest of the game. And it's like, oh, that's fun. I don't know, it's not a well-designed perk in my opinion, but no one runs it. What's the next killer we have? Legion. I, of course, run the Hunk skin because Hunk is a great character from Resident Evil. I mean, he's just a guy. And, of course, I run an anti-healing build. Sloppy. Just for slower heals. Hysteria, so everyone's oblivious. Which, you might say, oh, wait, but then if they're injured, you can't use your power. And it's like, on the one hand, yes, but I mean, what kind of dumb survivors allow you to hit what dumb survivors allow you to get the down with Legion hitting 4 people? Like, it never happens. It just doesn't happen. Nurses, so I can know where they're healing, so I can deal extra damage, and then face the darkness. It's actually quite nice, because if you're oblivious, they'll just start screaming, and if they scream near me, I just get nice easy down. So my key people injured build on Legion, I find quite fun. Also, Legion just runs fast. Man, I forgot to explain the clown. I realized I explained Spirit where she phases, she moves her band, and goes on long cooldown. Clown just throws 2 bottles. Balls that slow, balls that move fast. There. Clown's explained. He runs fast. I like Legion. I heard Scott talking about this, like, oh, why would anyone like Legion unless they're just like TikTok brain, go fast, be fun. Yeah, I don't watch TikTok at all, but yeah, going fast is fun. I'll say it. Running around as Legion is very fun, even if he's not that good. I enjoy him, and this build actually is quite fun. The amount of times I've hit someone with hysteria and then started walking around, and then they just screamed and they were like within 5 feet of me, and I just walked over there and just downed them. It's happened a lot. The perks. Discordance. It's a great information perk. I don't know why it has a range, but yeah, I suppose it does. Oh, I actually didn't know it had a range. That's so weird. It just gives you a notification if 2 people work on gen. It's a great information perk. It can really help out. Mad Grit. It's a fun perk, but not too useful. You hit people while you're carrying a survivor, and they can't wiggle. Not amazing. And then Iron Maiden. I run this on 1 killer. Artist. It's fun on Artist, but ultimately it's like you open lockers faster, and survivors who enter it will be exposed. It's fine. It's a fine perk. It's a cool concept. I would say cool concepts, and only one of these is a good perk. But I love Legion. Plus, look at this cosmetic. I mean, the other one I used to run was this Susie outfit, because I really like the neon, but it's hunk. I mean, it's just hunk. I'm missing Jolt, aren't I, for this build? Or Sloppy. It might be Sloppy. It wouldn't surprise me it was Sloppy Butcher. Yeah, I'm thinking it might be Sloppy Butcher is what I'm missing. So, no, it's probably Jolt. I would have to check my fun little spreadsheet I made for this. It's Fearmonger. I lied. Or Mindbreaker? Wait, it's Mindbreaker now, isn't it? Oh no, that's why Jolt wouldn't appear for me also, because it's now Surge, so it would actually be much lower now. It would be like here now. That's weird. Okay. This is basically just my I didn't even need an anti-mate for this. This is just my anti-exhaustion build on Plague that I used to run. I used to run way back in the day. Okay, I don't know why that just happened, but I was trying to build it again. This is an outfit I got on a battle pass a while ago. I truthfully don't care for it. The outfit I'm kind of aiming for is the C1. I don't know, I like the scales. I like this stupid helmet, and this hand. This hand is so weird. I kind of dig it. I really like Plague. There's another killer I really enjoy. Oh yeah, we're gonna go on a streak. I'm looking at this. We're going on a massive streak of killers I enjoy playing. And her snowball potential is really good. Her green puke that can break survivors and make them unable to heal is really nice, along with Blood Echo, just doubly makes it even better. And of course, the red puke downing survivors, injuring them, is also very fun. All in all, a very fun killer. One that she's on the top of my list. She's fun. She's got a cool weapon. Her backstory's even really cool. And this anti-exhaustion build I've always found very fun. And Infectious Fright, of course, for better snowball. And her perks, Corrupt is really good. It's just... Oh, that's why I don't have Dark Devotion. Okay, because yeah, this was back when you had to get a killer to level 35 and then... Or like 30, 35 to unlock their perks, so that's why I have Corrupt and Infectious on everyone, but... Corrupt, you know, very good, especially for killers that have to stall a bit before they do stuff. Infectious Fright, great for snowballs. Dark Devotion, terrible perk, shouldn't run it, unless you're on twins. Because when Victor downs someone, it counts. So, always fun. The next killer is Ghostface. I need to use this. I run a Hex build on him. Just cause it's funny. And you might be like, oh, why Plaything? Just for Penty value. I mean, like, I run two... I can't even get the full effect of Plaything because I run 2 other perks, but... Getting just stacks of Pentimento is just so great. So great. And his power is just that you can turn not invisible, you can turn undetectable and stalk survivors. If you get max stalk, then they can be insta-downed. He's a very fun killer. He's janky. That's my only problem is that he's very janky, but otherwise, he's fun. I'm glad they put Ghostface in here. His intro is also really nice. His reveal trailer. And Hex builds I do enjoy on him just because of his stealth. And of course, his perks, I'm all ears, is fun. You vault a window, you see their aura. Drilling Tremors will just let you know who's working on gens, and it's just a bad chase. It should just be permanently reduce your terror radius. I don't know why it's so gimmicky. Again, I didn't have a lot to say about him. I enjoy him. You know, not much to say. Not much to say about Demogorgon either. Is this the build Wait, is this the build I have down that I run for demo? Oh, that's so weird. Wait. I think this is supposed to be Spear Fury. I'm gonna be honest. I think I may have written down the wrong perk. I think I did this late at night and forgot to write down Spear Fury. Because there is no way it's Bamboozle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Spear Fury. Okay. Spear Fury Enduring, just a classic demo combo to just shred through pallets. Scourge Hook for Gen Regression, No Way Out for Exit Gate Denial. And his 2 powers are his portals, I don't care for. They can be fun at times, but like, are good at times, and they can be enjoyable, but the main thing I like about Demogorgon is his pounce. It's fun, its hitbox isn't too weird, and you can get to some crazy places with it on maps that developers didn't intend to. All in all, I really do enjoy Demogorgon. He's a great killer. He's one of the most fair and balanced killers they released, which is insane. And he got taken off the store until today. They finally brought him back, and I could not be happier. Honestly, I also notice when I rant, I really slide back in my chair. I gotta stop doing that, so I'm sorry if the voice keeps changing. Are you gonna do anything about it in post? No, because there is no post. Yeah, and then I would talk about his 3 perks. I'll find them here, I hope. Let's see. The first demo perk I see is Cruel Limits, which used to be claustrophobia. When you do a generator, windows and vault locations near it are blocked. I like it. Oh, sorry. All windows and vault locations are blocked. It is a fun perk. I really like this. It's a perk that I don't use nearly enough. It can be game changing to just block things off and just create your own little cage. and you get to see the ore, so you can corral survivors into it. It's a fun perk. I need to find more builds for it. The other one is Mindbreaker. Used to be Fearmonger. When you do a generator, you get blind and exhausted for a while. It's nice. It's nice. This is just a way to just, get more consistent pain reses off, and it's also really good for stopping exhaustion plays. This is one of those perks where you can slap it on any build and you're really not going to be worse off for it. And Surge used to be Jolt. It's just good gen regression. It's because it's minor gen regression, but it can hit a lot of things. Good for 3 gens, good for a lot of the stuff you'd like to do, like just hitting a survivor, downing them. And you can hit several gens. Works through floors too. Overall, it's a nice perk. Nice perk for a nice killer. Oni, Minotaur Oni. People say this is not a great skin. I don't like Attack on Titans, so I prefer this skin over the other one. And truthfully, it's a base skin. You turn to Minotaur. I wish it had noises. Maybe they can add that later. Sorry for that weird kind of rant about that. This is not the one I run. This is the build I tried. This was taken from Jugglet, a Oni main, and it's a fun build. Lethal, so you can get into chase faster and get your first down. Nowhere to hide and trail torment, so you can become undetectable and know where survivors are. And barbecue, just so when you hook someone, especially when you're getting close to your power, you can hook someone, then immediately use your power. And then start dashing around the map. It's fun. He's very angry. Wait, he gets horns? Wait, hold on a second. His horns change when he gets angry. Oh, that's so cool. That's a detail I never noticed. Oh, that's real nice. Ultimately, he's a very fun one. He's a killer that you can stop by just not giving early chases or going on, the game. But other than that, he's a fun killer. I would play him any day of the week. If you said, go play Oni, I would be like, okay. Of course, I'd like to... This is my favorite build I found from it. I need to level up these perks more, but when I do... he's such a good... He's so fun to play. And his perks are Zancian Tactics, good for newcomers, bad for everyone else. Blood Echo, only good on Plague, maybe Legion. And Nemesis. This is good. To switch survivors. Switch whose survivor you want to be afflicted with obsession. That's what I meant to say. God, that's surprisingly hard to say. And honestly, I don't think it's that great, truthfully. I don't know. I Nemesis mixed with, Hubris mixed with certain killers might be a good combination. The only reason I even prestiged him, besides the fact that I like him, is Blood Echo for Plague. Because, I don't know, his other perks aren't too great. Then we have Death Slinger. I'm missing Surge. I for some reason could not get Surge on this killer. I'm slowly leveling him up. That's who I'm currently leveling up right now, because I really like Death Slinger, but I just can't get Surge. And Shadowborn, so I can hit more consistent shots, save the best for last, just so I can, after I hit people with my gun, I can reload faster. And coup de grace, so I can get better lunges, and lunges out of my power will work better. That's truthfully it. Because one of the biggest things is that when you hook someone and then you try lunging at them and you barely don't make it, with coup de grace you'll be able to make it. And then Surge, of course, because you're only doing basic attacks to down people. It's just solid gen regression. But yeah, he has a spear gun called Redeemer. You shoot someone, and then you reel them in, and then you can smack them. Honestly, really cool power. And this is probably the best way they could implement a gun into Dead by Daylight, so happy they chose to do it this way. Yeah, okay, I've talked about the other killer's powers. So, Deathslinger, pretty good. And his perks aren't even that bad. Gearhead, if they do enough, if someone does skill checks, you get to see them. This is good for gen defense, healing stuff, and this is good if you have high mobility, and that's why I run it on like Hillbilly. Deadman Switch, it's so good with all the screaming perks, but yeah, if a survivor stops working on gen after you hook a survivor for like 30 seconds at level 3, then it gets blocked. Not much to say, it's kind of boring. And then Retribution's my favorite of his perks. You destroy a totem, and you can see everyone's auras for 15 seconds. It's so nice. I really love this perk, actually. And I even tried working it in on some builds where other perks would be better. I don't know, I just like Retribution. We'll get to my alien build soon. And yeah, I know we've been going for so long, you might have forgotten that the point of all this was to be like, oh hey, what's the veteran who took a break's thoughts on the game, but I think going through the killers are important, because the killers truthfully are the lifeblood of this game. They're the ones who changes how the games is played, and the survivors kind of just react to that. So, that's why I want to run through and give my thoughts, in case anyone was confused why I've been talking about man with metal triangle on his head. Anyways, Pyramid Head. I love this killer. His shooting through walls is so fun. And of course, classic gen regression. Corrupt just to corral. Every time I've played Pyramid Head, I've never gone full value out of Corrupt. It's mainly just been corral survivors and deal damage. For endgame, in case we reach there, No Way Out, and then Shadowborn for better, just to make me feel better about my shots. Truthfully, it's a crutch perk, I know, but all in all, I enjoy it. I really enjoy playing Shadowborn on Pyramid Head, and his power is that he gets to just shoot, what is it called? His rights of judgment? No, punishment of the damned through walls. And yeah, it's quite fun. I would say he's one of my favorite killers in this game, though his power does kind of encourage being mean and just like downing survivors and then camping them or tunneling them. I mean, if you don't like purposely just go tunnel survivor out, I mean, he's just fun. I don't know, I really like him. I like the skill ceiling for him, and yeah, I think I will be leveling him up and probably playing him some more. He's definitely one of my top killers. Ooh, is he top 3 actually for me? Oh, that's tough to say. He's in top 5 at least. I'll say he's definitely in top 5. There's a couple killers running for that attention. Oh, that's not what I meant to click. I meant to do this to talk about his perks. Force Penance, not a very good perk. If they take a protection hit, you inflict with broken. I think that works for one killer. It's just a whatever perk. Trail of Torment is actually really fun. You kick a generator until the generator stops regressing. You become undetectable, and everyone can see the generator is yellow. I actually forgot that Trail of Torment shows the generator as yellow. But it does. It's a very fun perk. And obviously I'm running down Hag on a couple of killers. It's a fun niche stealth perk, I'll say that. And Deathbound is just poorly designed. I mean, if you heal survivors away from the killer, one of them will scream, and then they'll be oblivious. For the next 60 seconds, they'll be oblivious if they don't stay close to the other survivor. But I mean, you reveal their location, great, how are you gonna get there? And it's like, what are you gonna do when you get there? It's not like other perks that'll reveal their location, and if you have good mobility, you can reach them and just take them down. You reach there, you're met with 2 healthy survivors. Okay. I don't know. It's kind of poorly designed. It needs a slight rework, but yeah, at least he's got trail. Blight. It's a fun killer, but it's... What was the quote Otstarva used? I believe it was like, imagine you're going to like a middle school or something, you're just like... I'm forgetting it. But essentially it's like, he's a very fun killer, but he's broken. I mean, he's just so good. Especially with good add-ons, you can just make sure survivors don't play the game. But he is really fun. He is really fun. It's so hard because like he's a very fun killer, but he's very strong. That's the only reason I wouldn't put him at like the top tier for me. I would put him like, oh yeah, I'll play him. He's fun. It's because like, I don't know, he's too good. And of course, it doesn't help I'm running just a great build, Shadowborn, to make me feel even faster. This is just Shadowborn on Blight. Like, I would run a different perk. I would run Coup. Coup actually was fun on Blight when I messed with that. But Shadowborn, it just makes me feel better while playing him. I don't know. That's just me being on Shadowborn. Barbecue, Information Rush to Survivors, Open Lockers, Ultimate Weapon, and Dead Man Switch as classic combo. I mess with other builds. There's a lot of fun builds, but this is his best one, the one that I will use if I just want to be extra mean on Blight. If I want to be extra mean, Compound 33, Adrenaline Vial. What's the other one? Pastula Dusk? No, not Pastula Dusk. Is it Roast Tonic? No. Oh my god, I'm forgetting which the other one is. It's Adrenaline Vial and I think a brown add-on. It's one of these. Whatever. Regardless, he's a mean killer, but he's fun, and truthfully, I want to get this outfit for him. Because it makes him sound like a panther. Like, I hate how it looks, but it makes him sound like a panther. That's it for Blight, which is why I probably won't be getting it, just because it's like, okay, that's the only reason. Plus, I like this blue coat. It's very basic, but I like it. And of course, his perks are Dragon's Grip. It's bad. It's bad. Funny with like onyro or a Insidious build, but it's not great. Blood Favor is actually much better now. No, Crowd Control is the one that got buffed. This one's fine. I mean, blocks pallets when you injure a survivor. I've definitely injured survivors, had them wait at a pallet, realize they can't pull it down, and then just get downed immediately afterwards. And Undying, classic for any hex build. Just, if a totem gets destroyed, it takes Undying's place. Ultimately, pretty nice killer. Twins, they are janky, they are rare, and ultimately, they encourage slugging. I really enjoy these killers. Let's start off with my build. Plaything Pentimento because I'm mean, Scourge Hook because I'm mean, and Hysteria because I'm mean. Yeah, I play these guys meanly. I don't slug, but I play them meanly. Because, I mean, how else are you supposed to play them? You injure survivors, you slow down their speed, and then you just creep up on them and smack them down. Simple as that. Also, I did get this Blood and Guts one. I know, I like how the darker colors of the red. Now let's just say, this killer's power is I guess I never talked about Blight's power. I mean, Blight's a pinball. You smack against a wall, you charge again, you smack against another wall, you can charge again, and you do that 5 times. And then while you're charging, you can slap a survivor. Basic. She sends her brother out, Victor. He'll run around. He can pounce on survivors, either downing them if they're injured or injuring them if they're healthy, and he'll latch onto them if they're healthy. And yeah, it's her power. You mainly just go around with Gremlin, Little Victor, and I'm not gonna lie, with Dark Devotion, I want to try out with Dark Devotion. I don't have it unlocked yet, but I would be really curious to see how Dark Devotion works with the twins. But yeah, I like these guys more for some reason. I also can't explain it. It doesn't work with my normal killers. Anyways, Trickster. As you can see, I have an alpha for him. So does that mean I really liked him? Yeah, I liked him. Before I stopped playing, I actually really enjoyed him. I wasn't great with him, but he was fine, and I came back after so long, and I lost, and I got rusty on him, and I'm like, he's just not fun enough for me to relearn to play, and I am glad he's getting a rework. His rework looks to be more enjoyable to play, and I'm definitely excited to give it a try. But he just throws knives. He throws knives. If he hits enough, they get injured. I am just excited that his main event is going to be really good, and then he's just going to be throwing a bunch of knives faster. You're going to have to hit more, but it's going to... I think it'll give more skill play to the survivors. Not enough, I feel, but enough. Enough for now. Genuinely, I think the rework's going to be good. And I can finally use this skin again. This killer again. And right now I just have a classic lethal, find people, deadlock for gen progression, bamboozle so I can block off certain annoying windows, and ultimate weapon just to figure out where people are. Which, funnily enough, ultimate weapon will be even better on him after his rework, because he'll be an average killer. Movement speed wise, I'm so excited for him to be a 115 movement speed killer, because he moves slower than the average killer because he's ranged, but I'm glad for him to get faster. I think ultimately the rework will be very healthy for him. As for current one, I wouldn't play him. That's about it. Though, I gotta say, early sick jacket. Oh, I hit next. No, I didn't. Sorry, I'm a liar. I need to talk about his perks. Starstruck. Carry survivor. They become exposed. People around you become exposed, and you can down them. It's a fun perk. That's about it. No Way Out's one of the best perks in the game. It just makes it just gives you at maximum an extra 48 seconds at the end game collapse, which is just, you can just prolong the game by an extra minute essentially, which can lead to you barely clutching out games, which is nice. It basically says, it basically gives you a mini generator they have to just wait out, they can't do anything about. And crowd control, it's a fine perk. You rush through a vault, it gets blocked. I've tried using this perk, it's not very good. It's not very good. Even after the buff to be for 60 seconds, it just gets cleansed, and even when it doesn't, people will just run to different loops, especially on stronger maps. Yeah, and I've explained his build. Now we're on Nemesis. He has a tentacle, and if you hit people or zombies with it, you'll slowly gain your infection, and when you get to infection 2 and then 3, you get different effects. 3 is range, and then 2 allows you to break pallets. I find him quite fun. Actually, that was how long before he found a killer I didn't like? That was Trickster. Wow. I find him fun. His zombies are definitely worse, and honestly just kind of useless. I've seen so many times where zombies just don't do anything, get stuck, and they're very annoying, but I like his power. I think if they made the zombies better, then maybe I would like him more, or at least less stupid. Or even like if they get stuck, they just respawn. That would be nice. Just at least right now, he just feels like a weaker alien. Which, I mean, I really enjoy aliens, so that's not a downside. Not a terrible thing. As for build I run, it's a gen kick build with corruption. Just because I start the game just trying to infect as many people as I can, then try getting value out. So I get value out of corruption, and then I start downing people. Because while infected, you can hit them and damage them with your whip, so. And they start coughing, so you can even hear them nearby. Overall, I would say I like Nemi. Solid killer. His perks he added, Lethal Pursuer, it's fun. You see survivors at the beginning, and then ors for all the other perks are increased by 2 seconds, so you just see survivors at the start of the match. That's fun. Hysteria is quite nice for injure builds, and because it just makes you stealthy. It makes you stealthy against injured survivors, which is always nice. And Eruption, it's just good gen regression. I am glad that they took out the effect that made it so survivors couldn't do anything. That was such a stupid effect. But yeah, overall, solid perks, solid killer. Honestly, I think he would be one of the best design killers if they made the zombies better. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, he's just a solid killer. And honestly, I think the Resident Evil chapters have been great. His power is that he can summon a chain. If it touches a survivor, they become slow. After a while, they'll start getting slowed unless they solve a box. Very faithful to the movies. I'll give them that. I don't like playing him. It feels like there's such a high skill ceiling, but the reward for reaching it is average. He doesn't feel particularly strong for reaching that high skill ceiling. And like, this build I ran with was just make people, annoy people in the box. It actually did quite well. And I managed to get 1 kill out of that game, but I don't know. This was like the best build I found to run with him. Even then, his chains are a little weird. The fact that you start getting faster at the end and they have limited range. I don't know. As you can see, some of the I tried running them add-onless for some of the killers, and then some of them I started messing with other things to see. Particularly the killers I couldn't find good initial success with, and one of these was Pyramid Head, Pinhead, my bad. And I ran the increased travel distance that made it feel a bit better. I was messing with these two just to see how they felt. I don't know. I think he's well designed. I think he's funny, and I like his design, though he's licensed, so of course. Ultimately, though, I wouldn't play him, and maybe I'm missing something about him. So this is one killer that if someone tells me, oh, here's a better playstyle with Cenobite, trying to annoy the box holder, then please let me know, because I love his design. I think his power is interesting. It's just, that's my gripes with him. And of course he comes with Deadlock. If a generator is repaired, the one with the most progress gets blocked. Just solid perk. Solid gen delay perk. Plaything, after you hook a survivor, a totem lights up and then they become oblivious until it's cleansed. It's really good, especially with Pentimento. This is just a really solid perk, and honestly, I sometimes just run Plaything without Pentimento. It's just fun. It's just fun watching oblivious survivors. And Gift of Pain is not a good perk. You hook a survivor, and they suffer from effects, from anti-healing effects until they are healed. And then when they get healed, they do things slower. So it encourages people not to heal and then penalizes people for healing. So you're like, oh, so they stay healed, right? And it's like, yeah. It's just so much effort for Scourge Hook. and it doesn't do much. Most survivors will stay injured, especially in the made for this meta. No one ran this. Because I'm thinking about, oh, I'm penalized for being injured. Or sorry, I'm penalized for trying to heal. I'm penalized for being healed, but I'm rewarded for being injured. Just stay injured. It's maybe now with made for this being nerfed, this will be a better perk, but I'll mess around with it later. And for now, I would say don't run Gift of Pain. Artist, I love the skin. I know the wings look bad in game because they don't move, but you know, I also don't look at them all in game, so I only see artist here. This is the build I run. It's weird. Well, sorry, pain res, normal, gen regression, dead man switch, normal, stop generators as artist, as you always do. Ultimate weapon, classic, just gain knowledge. Iron Maiden, you open it faster, which works better with ultimate weapon. And also, if they go into the locker to cleanse their birds, because artist's power is that you summon birds and you can crows and then you shoot them, and if they don't pass through anything, they injure the survivor. If they do, they'll swarm around and they'll try swatting them away. If you jump in a locker, they'll immediately go away, and then you can jump out. This counters that. Ultimately, this is a fun build. I've been messing around a lot with it, and I've really enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite killers, if not my favorite. I think for right now, it's just one of. I think my favorite one is Alien, which we'll get to. And her perks are pretty good. Grim Embrace is boring. I mean, not boring, it's just bad. You can call survivors once. All gens get blocked off for a little bit. And you guys see your obsession. It's fine. It's just outclassed. There's better perks. Because this can activate when no one's doing generators, and then this is just like, okay, team, we can't do anything anyways, and we know one of the killer's perks, let's just get a free reset. Scorchoke of Pain, one of the best perks in this game. It's just you hook a survivor, and you on a certain hook, and then for each time you do it for a unique survivor, you lose 25%. I know it says 15, but that's just because it's tier 1. For tier 3, it's 25, and it's pretty nice. It's a really nice perk, and it just, if you hook all the survivors once, you just regress one full gen. It's very nice. And if you can recognize the screams, you can even get a good idea where certain survivors are if you want to chase them. So it's really nice. It's really nice. And the other one is Pentimento. I think I talked about earlier. I think this is a perk that is an issue for the game. I think the fact that it punishes survivors for the side objectives so heavily, and you can force it with perks like Plaything to just make their experience even worse. And the fact that the effect is just it's so strong. A 30% reduction to repair speed. Like, other perks other perks that are harder to get aren't even like that. I don't know, Pentimento always struck me the wrong way. Like, I think either switching where the repair speed is or just nerfing the numbers might be the way to go. As for now, I don't know, Pentimento's just weird. You'll never get that 5 effect. You always do it for the first effect, or maybe first 2. Definitely the first one, the 30% reduction to repair speeds. It turns a 90-second generator to what? I got to roughly like 100 and like a little over 110, like 115. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I have to pause this real quick. So, in the background, I have my teacher, because I'm technically in class right now. Ooh, don't say anything. Why my teacher is showing us videos, and because this is just kind of like a whatever day, I just have to show up to class. and on Zoom, and I see one of the recommendations is on the sidebar is 1 hour of silence, but Yoshi occasionally licks you. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why, why he has that, but I guess my professor's into some weird stuff. Oh, lordy. Okay, well, ignoring that, yeah. I think I think Pentimento needs to change. Ultimately, I think Artist is a well-designed killer. I enjoy playing her. Facing her is interesting because she's hard to kind of dodge, so dodging her feels very rewarding. And yeah, I like her. Not much to say. Not much else to say. Onryo. I don't like this killer. I would just skip on from here, but yeah, this is the only killer that the build I wanted to make, I didn't do. I have to get Game Afoot. That's the one I kind of wanted to mess with. Oh yeah, because I replaced it because I tried a regular one. Then I found this build, and I wanted to mess with it, but I ran a very basic build. I tried playing Onryo. She's fine. Teleporting to TVs is fun, but she kind of feels like Wraith Light almost. I don't know. I don't find her enjoyable. Her whole condemned thing is kind of interesting, but you play too far into that and it's just boring. I don't know. I also don't like. I think Sadako is cool because I've seen the movies, but like, I don't know. I also find it so weird that they chose Yoichi instead of an actual protagonist from the movie, just so that because Yoichi was a kid in that movie, like a 12-year-old. So they just grew him up and they didn't have to pay rights for models. They just used his name. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't like this killer. I think she's quite boring. The whole manifestation, like I said, it's Wraith Light. It's like Wraith and Freddy, which I mean is fine, except it leans more on the Freddy side, which is boring. I guess she also does that. Yeah, and then the condemned is just weird. And then if you fully condemn someone, you can just kill them on the spot. It wasn't very fun. I know One Pump Willie did a lot of games with this. It's just, I don't know. I leveled her up because I wanted Floods of Rage for what's the killer? I want Floods of Rage for Skull Merchant, which you might be like, oh my god, you want a perk for Skull Merchant? And it's like, yeah, we'll get to why, but I don't know. I would not. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't play her. And maybe I'm not playing her correctly, but I'm pretty sure it's just teleport to TVs, find a survivor, hit them. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't know. Onryo players can tell me about it. And then her perks are just Floods of Rage. You hook someone on a Scourge hook. When they get unhooked, you can see everyone's aura. I find that fun, and it's quite a good perk. And I like that it's very sea themed. Fits with her being in the well. Call of Brine is now terrible. It used to just be when you kick the generator. For a bit, it just regresses faster. It used to be good, now it's not very good, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend running this. Not when you have better perks like Overcharge, which realistically does the same amount, but has the potential to do even more than Call of Brine. And then Merciless Storm, it's the Doctor perk. Normally, at Tier 3, it's when Gen hits 70%. Survivors working on this will get a bunch of skill checks. If they stop repairing or miss one, it gets blocked for 16 seconds. It used to be... I was here when the bug happened, where every time you hit a skill check for Merciless Storm, it would regress, like, the same amount as Old Ruin. That was so rough. That was rough. I mean, I kind of like her perks, that's why I prestiged her, but her, I don't know, Sako's kind of lame. And we're gonna get to a streak of killers that are also perceived as bad, which, oh, I'm gonna have hot takes for these next 6, I feel. Yeah, for these next 6. Maybe not for Dredge. Oh yeah, here's my anti-healing Dredge build. I don't like people healing against me, so they don't. Yeah, as Dredge, I just teleport around. His power is interesting. You can teleport to lockers, and if you do it enough time, you enter Nightfall, which means you can teleport faster, and you also leave behind a remnant when you hold your power that you can teleport back to. He's a fun killer, well designed. I hate how he looks. I want the Battle Pass skin. That's why I'm actually doing the Rift. Yeah, I would say Dredge is pretty fun, and I do like the anti-healing build. It just means that when I catch survivors off guard, they're less prepared. As for his perks, Dissolution is fun, ultimately not the best, but it can be very fun. It kind of does suck because people are told if they have Dissolution, so they'll just avoid fast vaulting pallets, or they'll slow vault or medium vault, or sorry, slow vault. You can't medium vault pallets. Darkness Revealed is good for Huntress, and Huntress really alone. You check gens, or you open a locker, you can see other lockers. And then Septic Touch, probably the worst perk in the game. One of Predator's worst. When a survivor heals within your terror radius, they are blinded and exhausted for 6 seconds. For 6 seconds after it is interrupted. Which means if they complete it, it doesn't happen. That you have to interrupt it. This perk just doesn't function. Just doesn't function. Like, catching a survivor healing your terrorists, most people won't even do it, but let's say they do. You are going to be facing bad survivors then if they heal in your terror radius and have nothing to use. If their only means of getting through a heal is just to what's it called? If their only means of healing is just, or their only means of escape is just exhaustion perks like Dead Hard, whatnot, you would be facing bad survivors. Plus, better healing is like inner healing. You cleanse a totem, you go into a locker, you're fully healed. It's not just healing in terror radius. The only thing I can see this really affects is if you're camping, and maybe that's fine. I don't know. Septic Touch is just a bad perk. You should never run it. Mastermind. He's a well-designed killer, and maybe it's because I haven't found the best build for him. Actually, he is quite fun. I think his power is fun, and I definitely need to find a better build for him. This was the build I was trying with what's it called? I did try with Shadowborn. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, so I was gonna try getting leveling him up to get. Shoot, hold on. Okay, I was gonna try leveling up to get corrupt on him. Not corrupt. Shoot. Corrupt Pain Res, Dead Man's ultimate weapon. Oh, I just never put it on. I did get it. Whoops. It's here. Okay, yeah. So, I need to try out this build, but ultimately, I would say it's I don't know. People are like, oh, Wesker's the best killer ever. He's the most fun killer. He's amazing, the most well-designed. And to an extent, I'll agree. I think he's fine. Maybe that's my hottest take of this thing. He's a fine killer. I mean, His dashing's kind of fun, but he's also got so much jank involved with him. And you are really rewarded for just drawing out games, because when they use all their sprays, you can just keep them permanently hindered, and the 5% hindrance really does make you feel slow. So I don't know. I think playing. I think if I spent a lot of time to get better at him, I would really enjoy him. But for now, it might just be a huntress thing. I don't plan to play him a ton, because I want to try out more killers. I want to have a variety rather than just one niche, and I think that's why maybe I'll try playing more Wesker later, and I'll have fun with him, but he's not going to be my main killer I pick. And his perks, I think, are mostly bad. Terminus is just bad. This is like slugging at endgame, specifically for the last 30 seconds when the exit gates are open. And it's like, okay, this is just securing one kill. That's what Terminus is for. It's whatever. Awakened Awareness is good if you can act on that information rather quickly. Most killers can't. So for most people, it's not. And also, this doesn't work with Lethal Pursuer because it's not time-based. It's just while you carry a survivor. So if you can act on this information like Nurse, it's pretty good. Otherwise, who cares? And then Superior Anatomy, like I said before, it's fun with Myers. When you're not playing Myers like fast vault build, it's whatever. But it could be a good shock. It's a good one-time shock thing for a survivor. Oh, Knight. I have to preface this by saying I hate 3-genning. I think 3-genning is the most boring thing you can do in this game. When I played, which 3-genning for those uninitiated is essentially you have 3 gens in close proximity and you just guard them all. And survivors have to do 5 out of 7 gens. So obviously 3 gens means that they have to complete one of those. And it's boring. You can draw a game so long with it. That's what Skull Merchant used to do, and it's so boring, and I could not imagine being held hostage by a Knight or Skull Merchant player. Now, he's very cool, and his power is also interesting. You summon a guard, and they can change from 3 different guards. Card effects, which breaks stuff fast. Assassin, which moves fast. And then Jailer, which has a larger, which can stay on the field longer. And you can just set them out to do your bidding. And I really like the macro playstyle, where you just send them across doing all these crazy stuff, and you're just handling 2 situations at once. That is Knight at its most fun, and I really love him. I even got this outfit for him because I think it looks cool. And yeah, I've really enjoyed him. I mean, I've leveled him up. I've gone this build I like, which is just general aggression on pain res, general aggression on surge, surveillance to tell me if anyone touches these, and it tells me which gen is being affected by pain res, and corrupt, which lets me just spread a bunch of pressure at the beginning, and then I can start downing people towards the end. Ultimately, sorry, man, I'm losing my voice. Ultimately, it's a build I really like, and I wish this was base kit because he really needs it. The only other thing I'll say about Knight, I think he might be one of my favorite killers, but the only thing keeping him from that really top slot is that he is so buggy. You get stunned while you're trying to use your power. Sometimes your guards will just get stuck on a wall, and then you won't be able to hit them, and then you waste so much time with your power just not working, and that just doesn't feel good, and I think that's the only reason. If they made the Knight less buggy, he would probably be one of my favorite killers. I mean, I love his design. I love his gameplay. It's very, like, you feel giga-brained when you do the macro gameplay successfully. When you're wasting 2 survivors' times, and you're, like, crumpling the team like that. It just, at least for me, it feels really nice. And yeah, they fixed the bugs. Knight's up there in my top 5. For now, he's not. And of course, I've talked about Face the Darkness. It's actually a fine perk. I just wish it didn't make them scream. Nowhere to Hide, I think, is a very balanced perk. If you are close to a generator and you kick it, then your aura gets revealed. It's just an anti-hiding perk, which, yeah, Nowhere to Hide. You would believe it does that. I actually think it's quite balanced, and Hubris is interesting. You need Enduring to run this perk, so it's 2 perk slots, and then if survivors know this exists, they'll just pre-drop pallets, so it doesn't... It's not always the best perk, but it can be fun. I will say this: Hubris can be a fun perk to play. Then we get to Skull Merchant. Whoa, Rocky, you got a Skull Merchant outfit too. Man, you like Skull Merchant? Yeah, and yeah, she's my favorite stealth killer. You know. What do you mean, Rocky? She's not a stealth killer. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Also, as for why I don't have this last perk, that's because I don't have Sloppy Butcher, believe it or not. I know, I just don't have it. It's weird. So her Eyes in the Sky power, she sends up drones, and they're just supposed to like lock onto people, and they'll send claw traps, and they'll injure people if they stay in it long enough, and you can use your radar to see people near drones. That's all fun and good, but I don't care about that. What I care about is... Oh. Can I press T to inspect, like in other games? No, okay. What I care about is that sentence that says, deploying a drone grants undetectable for 8 seconds. Well, do I have these? Shoot, where is it? Yes, it's adaptive lighting and... Oh shoot, there's one other one. There's another one. I guess I ran out of it. But it's adaptive lighting and another add-on. Oh, low power mode. Jesus, it's this one, so I do have this one. Which, I mean, low power mode isn't even truly necessary for this. And I'll give you my reasoning. So this one I kind of stole from Hens. And basically, you set up the drone, and then you're able to just run around, turn around, deactivate another drone, and then you keep tossing up drones, and you're constantly undetectable. Now, with adaptive lighting, that's the only way it works. Now, why low power mode? Because the rotation speed is slower, survivors are less likely to notice it, and I have gotten so many grabs with this killer. It's so stupid, this whole build, and I just get information as to where people are so I can sneak up on them even better. It's honestly a deceptively good build, and that's what's made me enjoy Skull Merchant. Besides, I like the design and I like the story behind Skull Merchant. It's just, obviously, the 3-gen, the chess merchant. Oh my god. That whole bait controversy was so funny, but, you know, I get it. I mean, I'm a killer main that refuses to 3-gen. I was on Temple Purgation with Knight, and I was given the opportunity of 3-gen. And I just chased an ace for, like, until they finished the gen. I think it was very funny that even the ace and I think the Felix after that game were like, why didn't you 3-gen? And I'm like, I find it boring. They're like, paced Knight. The only paced Knight. And I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't fought any Knight players yet. Which might be a blessing. But yeah. Skull Merchant. Very good killer if you run for that specific thing. And this was the killer I was talking about way at the beginning, where you find a specific playstyle and you can make any killer fun. And that is why for the killers I've been saying that I don't like, I really want to learn about them. I will be honest, I have not played Singularity. I'll be real. I'll be for real. I've not played Singularity. I know I'll enjoy him. Well, okay. I played him once when I had one perk, which, as you saw, I tossed on Rapid Brutality. And he was fun, and I enjoyed him. I think his power is unique. I think his power has a high skill floor, or a high skill ceiling, and it is a power that I would not mind learning. ultimately, I would say it's quite fun. But I don't want to speak too much on his power. His power is that he gets to shoot pods. If you shoot them at a survivor, they just get infected, and then if you shoot them at a survivor again, you teleport to them, or you can shoot them at a surface, and then you can look through that camera and infect survivors that way. It's a very fun, and this introduced the big, oh, you can pick up items, like you have items that can cause like disruption to the power, because you had like Wesker and Nemesis sprays and vaccines, but they're more so like, oh, here's a micro patch to the solution. This will disrupt your pod web, which I find interesting, and I think they perfected it with the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph is a very strong killer, and its tail attack is super good, but the flamethrowers you can put down really, like, cause gun of counterplay to where good survivors will do well against Xenomorph, bad survivors will not. That's why I don't think he needs a big nerf. And we look at his other perks, in the build I run, No Way Out, Classic, Just Buy Me More Time, though I am considering taking out No Way Out, just because I want more pressure for the regular game, maybe a gen defense perk, like Pop, Pain Res, something like that. Deadlock blocks generators, Retribution, as I explained during the other one. Did I talk about singularity perks? I didn't. They're all bad. Just know they're all bad. I mean, you heal, you get exhausted, who cares? This is just a good slugging perk. You down someone, people around them are slower. And machine learning, if you kick a gen and that exact gen gets completed, then you move faster. It's bad perks. Anyways, back to a good killer. Sorry, killer with good perks, I'll say. But yeah, I like Retribution. It's just the Oblivious status is whatever, but the cleansing the Hextone gives you 15 seconds of knowing where everyone is plus Plaything. It's a nice combo, and Plaything's just easily, oh hey, Oblivious, you can down survivors. If I'm extra mean, I run Pentimento on this build, and this build becomes stupidly good. But unfortunately, I am not. Yet, actually. You know what? I think I may have just convinced myself running Pentimento as the play. That's not. Oh, that's very tempting. Okay, well, survivors might not like me very much. And of course, he came with Ultimate Weapon. I talked about why I don't think this is a healthy perk. Rapid Brutality, I think, is a great perk design. You lose Bloodlust, but you get benefits for hitting survivors. It's a high-level perk, but a perk that you can see good use out of, and I enjoy that. And Alien Instinct, of course. You see the aura of the injured survivor farthest away from you. It's the Mr. Beast face of the DVD perks, which, where is... Can I pull up a better image of that one? That would be funny. What the hell? Where is this perk? There it is. Alien Instinct. It's the Mr. Beast face. Yeah, it's fine. I don't actually think this is a very healthy perk for the game, just because Nurse and Blight can just use this to just tunnel people out, but yeah. And besides that, it's not a very good perk. It's just good for Nurse and Blight. But then again, what perk isn't? It's so hard to design perks that aren't good for Nurse and Blight. They're just too good killers, The skill gap between S and A tier is literally, can you make niche perks some like broken, or are you just like a good killer? That's the big difference between S and A tier. And if you can tell, he is my favorite killer in the game. I think the tail attack is great. So I enjoy most of the killers. It did shock me, because when I left, I wasn't a big fan of most of them, but coming back, most of them were fun. I think it comes down to that they were coming out with cool perk ideas. And people are saying, oh, is Dead by Daylight dying? And the numbers might show that. It might be a less popular game, but I think coming back to this game has been so incredibly fun. Like, I'll come back and I'll play the blood points. I think a big thing is the blood points. Like, I get the blood points and it's like, oh wow, I get to do I get rewarded so much for playing these, and it lets me test out more stuff easier and more reliably. And it's like I can, like the fact that I was able to create a spreadsheet, and within a week I got most of the killers at least prestige 1, so I can start messing with more builds and testing things out. Like, that just also really increased my love for the game. Like, oh, I get to test out so many killers rather than it, because now it's like it takes one day and I'll get 3 perks unlocked for every killer, or a new tier for every killer, as well as making that killer better to play. Whereas before it was like, I spend a day, maybe I unlock 1 perk. You know? And you get more park variety because you don't have to run barbecue. And on top of that, the event that just happened was pretty fun. Very survivor-sided, but fun nonetheless. And the rift, I actually think the rift is probably the weakest part right now. And that's because most of these aren't great. I know people are like, oh, why is this an ultra rare thing? And I think it's just because it's at the end of a battle pass. Because, I mean, I think it looks cool, but yeah, it doesn't have any unique sounds, nothing. It's just reused assets, which I think kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, plus all the other thing I really liked, actually, I don't know when they added that. This definitely wasn't when I was playing. Is like the tone feels less intrusive. Like, a lot of these are just like, oh, get 3 skill checks while healing, initiate 2 chases, whatever. Like, normal stuff that's not like. And sure, you have this like use diversion, but for most part, it's like, oh, I play Oni, just do this. It's like, oh, just glyphs and whatnot. And I really enjoyed that. This has probably been my favorite tome, which is why I've completed them. They've also been really fun to do. And I also like these remixes ones. I don't know when they came out with them, but like, these are fun. You get 4 random perks and you have to do a random quest. Random thing. Those are also fun. And of course, the whole collection thing. This is also really nice. I've always liked this. The story is told. The story is expanded in these just by completing them. All in all, I would say this game has really grown from when I played. I look forward to most map to playing this game. I think they've done a great job at listening to feedback when it comes to certain elements. I'll admit, they ignore certain things, and I think that just also comes down to they're testing so many things and they're trying to constantly meet that deadline of creating new stuff. And I don't think it's fully fair to say that, oh, hey, the devs are evil or the devs don't listen to their community because they, don't immediately nerf made for this. They probably had numbers that say, oh, hey, made for this isn't that strong, or like, or saying, okay, made for this is maybe a bit overtuned, but it can wait for a big patch. It's not an emergency patch. We have to focus on the new content and fixing all the bugs. And I mean, even the Trickster rework, that probably took some time to think of, implement and start working into it. So I think for what the devs have done, they've done a pretty good job so far. Matthew Cote, is it? I think it's Cote. It might be Code. I didn't look up that information. You're not a DVD fan. That's an inside joke. Because one of his most famous lines was, I forget which event he was recording at, but he just said, I think we've done a pretty good job so far. And everyone would just take that clip and be like, and just show all the glitches, because that was way earlier in the game's life. I mean, now we still have glitches, but not as bad as before. But I would say I believe this game is better than because I would say there's 3 main points that I've played this game. Or let's say there's 5. You know what? We'll say there's 5 times. When I first picked up the game when Pig released, I would say that might be the worst time in the game, and I think it's because we got so much more content, so many new features that made the game ultimately better. And I don't miss a lot of the old stuff like decisive strike, just all that really broken stuff. So I would say that might be the worst time. Then when I switch, then another time, or the next time would be when I left console around the Blight's release. Like Blight, yeah, I think Blight was when I left. And maybe it was Trickster. I honestly can't remember because I think I left around Blight. No, because I did kick I did kick Victor, so it was around Trickster's release. I think it was around these 2 release, I believe. Because yeah, I played a bit of Blight on console and I couldn't enjoy him. Because I played him on console back when he had the weird FOV. So many memories. Then when I switched, I was having fun with the game because we went on a streak of really good killers coming out that were fun. Then I started playing on PC, and I think the high of it kept it. But pretty shortly I left because I think that might be also the worst time. The meta was fun, everything was stale, they were scared to do big meta shifts, which, the one they did, I think the idea was good, it just happened to lead to an unfun meta, and I don't think they should scare away from doing big meta shifts. I think that's just hey, as long as you're on your game, you can make sure that unfun metas like that just don't happen again. But yeah, that was because I didn't like Cenobite, I didn't like Aris at the time, and I didn't like Onyro, and I also didn't like Nemesis or Nemesis players. They were a breed back then, and maybe they still are now. I haven't faced a Nemesis yet, but and I didn't like and I wasn't a big fan of Trickster, though I played him a bit more on PC and I liked him better. I still wasn't the biggest fan, and then there's a stigma around twins, wasn't the biggest fan, and while Blight was fun, he had problems, so like the last few killers I wasn't having a big fun and I wasn't learning new stuff, so I'm taking that break. And then I came back, and I would say this is the most fun the game has been, and I don't know if that's controversial. I don't know if people would take that view and say, oh, that's dumb. Maybe, but the content they're putting in, they just brought back the Stranger Things content, which is nice. I like Hawkins, and even if you don't, more options is always nice. More tricks to learn, and the killers, just these last 2 killers have been good, and Dredge was good, Wesker was good, Alien was good, Singularity was good. I've come around on Artist. I think I've come around on Artist and Cenobite, even though I only like playing Artist, not Cenobite. Nemesis, I think, is still solid. And, it's really these killers are the recent ones I think came out pretty bad. I think he still needs some work. I think Skull Merchant might need some work, but that stealth style is fun, and then onyro has problems, so I think it's... And my stance always on this game has been, I'm not a fan of playing Survivor. If you ask me, what killers do I like playing against? I like playing against Hillbilly, Pig, because Pig just because I used to main Pig. Demogorgan. Oni, because you can't not like facing Oni. Yeah, and that's my list of killers I like facing. Which, it's not great if it's only 3, but, it is what it is. And And I don't know, maybe that's also impacted my views on this slightly. Oh, there goes my dice. I don't know. I would say the game's fun. I would say the game's really fun. I don't know how fun it is for survivors, and maybe that's what people are getting at when they say the game is dying. I think this is a great time to be a killer. If you're a killer player, you've been eating pretty good. The event wasn't the greatest, but I mean, like, you've gotten good killers, you've gotten good perks, and now they're losing mate for this, and we're gaining a better trickster. And you know, I think as survivors, it's not that much fun. I'm sure survivor mains would disagree, and they probably might still love this game, or they might also have some similar issues. Like, I'm a killer main, and I also spent like 20 minutes of this rant arguing against 2 strong killer perks because I think they're not healthy for the game. Which, by the way, I saw the video of Ots saying like coup de grace and save the best for last aren't healthy because they don't give information, and it's like, well, I don't think that's I don't know if that's true. Save the best for last, maybe, because it's an insanely strong perk and it's subtle until it's like way too late to notice it. Whereas like coup de grace, if you get hit by coup de grace, you know you got hit by coup de grace on take 1. You know, I wouldn't put coup de grace as a unhealthy perk for this game. Plus, it's so fun. But I also agreed with most of his other ones. I don't think knockout's healthy. I don't think pentamento's healthy. I don't think other perks he mentioned are healthy. He didn't mention ultimate weapon because I don't think it came out when he made that video, but ultimate weapon, face the darkness, stuff like that. Is there anything else to talk about? Whatever this bonus is also really nice, and it shows you what's going to give you the fastest queue. This I've really liked. The bots adding to the game, I like them. Instead of just losing a player, you have something, which is always nice. I still wish you can go into custom games alone to just test out killer powers, but now you can do custom game with bots, so there's that. And the store, the funny little buy store thing. I still can't believe this thing is back. That's still so cool. It's amazing. Also, I hate this dude's face, Jonathan Breyer. But yeah, I've never been a fan of the whole Stranger Things, but I'm always glad to see it back. See Demogorgon back with his skins you can now buy, which, geomutation is not a good skin. I would be very excited to see what other skins they have. That's the other thing. I really like the cosmetics they've added. They've all been pretty good, and I think that's about it for my rant. I mean, I would say my consensus is that this game is the best it's been in a while. I think it's incredibly fun. I think it's really encouraged a diverse usage of perks from both sides, and you can try out really fun builds. And if you want to sway try hard, yes, you're forced to use, if you want sweaty try hard, there's always a few perks you use, but you can get away. I think this is a really strange but good time in the Dead by Daylight thing, where you can run builds that aren't top tier and still have a good time, do what you want, or there's not one consolidated best build. It's like, oh, you can run for the people, buckle up, or an exhaustion perk with some other things. So I would say ultimately I'm having a lot of fun in Dead by Daylight. This is a game I'm going to be playing a lot more, and hopefully that new chapter that releases is also pretty cool and adds in some nice perks. It's not going to be, but I would love for it to be an opera themed one. That would be something I always wanted. And yeah, I think that's about the end of my rant. Man, 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's pretty long. Who will watch this? I know at least my girlfriend will. uh, no, that's good. I'm glad I've actually been able to make a rant last 2 hours, 20 minutes. If it's entertaining, I don't know, I'll let people decide that. As for what my next rant is going to be, it will either be a Wings of Fire rant, which is a book series that I really like, a Pokemon Unite rant, because I have a lot to say about that game. A lot less positive things than what I've said about Dead by Daylight today. Or the Rainbow Six Siege tournament that's currently going on. And I might talk about that tomorrow, if and only if I decide I want to wait. If I decide I want to wait till the tournament concludes. But I think I will make a rant pre-tournament and a rant post-tournament. So we'll have some things to talk about. But yeah, thank you for listening to the end of my rant. I mean, it's crazy if anyone's made it to this far into the video. I'm not gonna do those normal YouTuber things. Just click on whatever next video, eating glue, or like my professor, 1 hour of silence with Yoshi occasionally licking you. So, yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next rant, I suppose.